Hey, everyone. Welcome to the VO Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Ann Ganguza, and today I am privileged and honored to have special guest, voiceover actor, and the creator of the Building Doors campaign, Christy Harst.
Yay! Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, Christy, I am so excited. I feel like we are soul sisters here.
You have better makeup, but yes.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, it's wonderful to have you on the show because you're doing amazing things, and I want the bosses to know about them. So for those bosses that don't know who you are, let's kind of start at the beginning. Talk to us a little bit about your career. You've been in this industry for quite a while. So tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. I majored in broadcast communications, and I was supposed to be the next Barbara Walters, in case you didn't get the facts, in the 80s. It turns out that after an internship at MTV, I saw what women had to do and who they had to be at the top. And it wasn't something I was willing to do. So I pivoted, if you will, and had a career, a traditional 9-to-5 career, if you will, in marketing, PR, and event planning, la-di-da-di. And I always felt this pull and this tug when I would listen to the radio and I would hear these people and I would say, oh, God, I can do it so much better than them. Oh, my God, it's so painful. Oh, God. And so one year I made a New Year's resolution to get an agent, and I did. And I didn't get one audition. So the next year I said, well, forget them. I'm going to go get another one. And I got another one. And I was with that agent for 17 years. I booked national campaigns. I did a lot of on-camera. That was BC, Before Children. And once my husband and I decided to have kids, we decided to build a studio in the house and in the basement. And I booked national campaigns from there as well. And now I'm on the first level of the house with a studio brick. So I feel like I'm no longer a basement troll.
Hey, there's something to be said for those basement studios, though. I mean, I had one. I mean, we don't have basements here in California, and they make great studios. That's for sure.
They do. And mine was very makeshift, but hey, I did it. I made it work, right?
Yeah,
nothing wrong with it.
I was right there by the water heater. I mean, I'm just saying. That was the only noise, really, when that went on. So
I always used to have to run and manually turn off the HVAC. Go and do work and then go run. And my kids would be like, it's so cold. It's so cold. I'm like, I'm not done recording. I'm not done.
Oh, my gosh.
And then most recently, I would say in the last 5 years, 5 years ago, I went to my first voiceover conference. And it was in Columbus, Ohio. And it was something called the Mid-American or Mid-something. And I knew no one. I knew absolutely no one. And I ended up there listen to all the heavyweights that were there, and I had no clue. So Roy Yolkeson was there. Joe Cipriano was there. Mark Scott was there. It was his first conference ever that he was teaching a class. Rodney Salisbury was there. JMC was there. All these people, and I had no idea. I had no idea who any of these people were. So I was late getting to some of the breakout sessions, and there weren't that many left to pick from. And the only one that was left was Joe Cipriano's promo class. I didn't even know what promo was. And I was like, oh, gosh, fine, I'll go into this one. There was only me and like 3 other people. And AJ McKay was in there running it.
Yep.
And I went up and did it. And I was hooked. I was like, you mean I can say 5 words and each word is like a different story and I'm done? I'm done? That's it? I love it. Because I don't do audiobooks. I'm not a marathon runner.
Sure.
I am a sprinter, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so from that point forward, I was kind of like, oh, I really think I could do this. And so I ended up working with Joe. We flew to New York. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, but we flew to New York and recorded a demo for network promo. And
Joe is wonderful.
Oh, my gosh. He's amazing.
He really is.
He's so gracious. He's a wonderful teacher. And I learned a lot from him.
Absolutely.
And it ended up being nominated for a SOVA, and I was the only woman in the category. I lost to Dave Fennoy, but again, if you're going to lose to somebody,
that's right.
lose to Dave Fennoy, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Who is also an amazing human being. And then after that, I started to, try and explore promo and so on and so forth. And I am a former college athlete. I am a former head varsity coach. My kids are both terribly athletic, and my bank account shows it. And we're a sporting family. We choose to go to sporting events for almost like our staycations. So I said, why don't I do sports promo? Like, that's a perfect way to match my passion and my ability and my talent. And for a good 3-4 years, I invested in training. I invested in workshops. I invested in demos. And it wasn't getting me anywhere. And I just was getting really frustrated.
So why do you think that you did all the things right? You did all the things right. You got your training, and you trained with some of the best. You got your demos. And so what do you think was the issue what was not happening?
And see, that's the fun part. That's where Building Doors, a campaign that I started, really was birthed, because I didn't know. I was doing everything that everyone told me to do.
Sure.
I was doing out-of-box marketing. I was creating fan videos where I voiced them, I wrote them, I created them. I was doing all of the things that you're supposed to do. Email marketing, cold calling, all of the things, and nothing was moving
all of the
needle.
hard things. All of the hard things.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it.
And I was going to say, and something tells me that you went with it. You did it with full force. Like,
oh yeah,
not even like 100%. I feel like you did 150 to 200%. Maybe. I just get that about you.
Yeah, well, when I sink my teeth into something, I don't let go.
I'm right there with you. I feel that.
Why not? Like, why? If you're going to do it, do it all the way. And so I had signed up for a promo workshop with a prominent promo LA agent, a woman. And during that workshop, I did a read for her, and she was like, yeah, booked, great, booked. And I was like, you know what? Okay, stop. I'm not booked.
Yeah.
I'm never booked. And I'm not repped by one of the larger agencies. So the access to those opportunities are even smaller.
Sure.
So what are my chances? What are my chances in booking sports promo? And she was very honest. And she said, not so much. And I said, why? And it was interesting because my whole body just slumped. And there were people in the Zoom room, were like, Christy, no, don't slump. It's okay. No. And she said, it's not for a lack of women trying to create opportunities for women in these niche spaces.
Sure.
These opportunities that are created by women climb and climb and climb up the ladder of decision making. And when it reaches the C-suite to a middle-aged man, they say, love the concept, not the voice. We're putting a man on it.
Sure.
And she said, I encourage you to make your own noise. And so I thought, I got off the workshop and I was like, but I am making my own noise. I am doing out-of-the-box marketing. I am creating videos for specific teams I want to voice for. I am working my LinkedIn Connect. I'm doing everything I possibly can. Went to bed, woke up the next morning, called Brandon Miller, who is the VO craftsman, and I just went off. Brandon, can you believe what she said to me? I'm so upset. What am I supposed to do? You mean to tell me that just because I'm a woman that I'm not getting access to these opportunities on my own? That's nuts. So I went to walk the dog. I came back and I called him and I said, here's what we're going to do. We are going to get women, other female voice actors, and I'm going to partner with women around the world, and we are going to revoice scripts originally voiced by men in male-centric genres like construction, like alcohol, like tech, like sports, like automobiles. And we are going to show through these reels that not only are women good at it, but also brands are not going to miss anything from it.
Sure.
Those C-suite men who are saying, oh, no. Well, why? Because women statistically have anywhere, it depends on the globe or United States, but anywhere between 60 and 80% of the purchasing power in their homes. They make the decisions about what money is spent and where, whether you get season tickets, whether you get swag when you go to a game, what kind of camps your kids go to, everything, right? So women have the purchasing power, number one. Number two, women don't want a wine night with pink logoed hats anymore at games. That's not what they want. Women are sports fans. Women are
absolutely.
Women are carpenters. Women are tech driven. So why are we using men as the messaging? And the more and more, and I dug into this, the more it spurred me to keep going, because here's why. For example, Sondi, the voice of Sondi.
I know Sondi.
Yeah, Sondi. Okay.
Gorgeous
so
voice.
She chose to do a spot for Lowe's. So in researching every spot, every reel, I want to have it based in data. So I was doing research and I stumbled upon a study that Lowe's had conducted because they wanted to differentiate themselves from Home Depot. What they knew was that Home Depot was a spot that contractors went to.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, men are the contractors. Home Depot is poorly lit, it's messy, there are limited displays, and the aisles are super tight. So, because Lowe's recognizes that women have the highest purchasing power, they decided to make their stores well lit, really wide aisles. Everything is bright and colorful. And then they have these huge displays that show you how you can use the products and what you can create. Yet they rarely use a woman on their branded campaigns for TV and radio. Rarely. That we're missing something here, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you had all that money to do a study and you put all that attention into gearing your stores towards women because you know that they have the highest purchasing power, why aren't you using more women in front of and behind the camera?
Sure. Well,
It doesn't make sense, right?
comes down to who are those decision makers, right? Who are the decision makers that are selecting the voices, which is, you know, as you mentioned prior, a lot of times, and this also happens when we audition, right? I mean, why is it that when we audition, we're told casting specs to be conversational and, you know, and talking to your best friend, and then ultimately when it airs, we possibly hear something that sounds like the old announcery thing? Well, could be that an older person that had that, you know, that was doing the directing or that finally made that choice. And so I think it really depends on who's making the choice for the voice talent. And I get you in terms of being in male dominated fields. I've kind of myself have been, you know, was an engineer back in the late 80s. I worked in technology for about 20 years. I'm a female demo producer. And so I've been treading that line the whole time. So I really feel that that a campaign that can bring awareness, right? So it's not just maybe the one person making that decision, but they can bring awareness to the world or the companies. I think that is a really wonderful way to get things going and actually, you know, building doors and breaking the glass ceiling for women.
And you know, I thought that day after I walked my dog, I was like, well, everyone uses these terms like go kick down the door or go knock on the door. And what I realized is that there's no door for me to knock on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I have to build it, and I'm going to bring a bunch of other women with me.
I love it. So let's talk about the Building Doors campaign. When did you start?
March 1st of 2024. So It's been 10 months.
Okay. And what did you do to start? What did you do to start building that? What was required for you to do that? A website, a domain?
No, I didn't even I had nothing. It was February 9th or 10th, and I was like, this is what's going to happen.
Okay.
I'm going to do it. And I remember there was a moment I was sitting on my couch and I said to myself, if you're going to do it, you have to do it now. But if you're not going to do it, just don't, because it's going to take a lot of work, and you have less than 2 weeks.
Yes.
To like 2.5 weeks to launch this on March 1st in honor of Women's History Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, fine, it's done. And I started calling all the women that I knew. Then I started researching women online and on Instagram. And at first I just used my social media. So I didn't have time to create a page. Like, it wouldn't have had the impact, right? So I launched it on my Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on TikTok. And I was literally going to do one post. Then one post turned into a month. All right, fine, I'll do a month. And then something happened. People actually watched it, and people actually commented, and people actually shared. Mm-hmm. And they shared it to the point where a woman got a job from it. And I think that shows the power of community when you all unite under a shared mission. Mm-hmm. So Ashley Torado is a voice actor who did a spot for Honda Sport. She voiced it, and about 3 or 4 months later, she called me and said she doesn't know who, but somebody forwarded or shared this reel, Someone saw it, forwarded it to an ad agency in Florida. That Florida agency reached out to Ashley and hired her to do a slew of Honda spots.
Awesome.
Building Doors at that point had created an opportunity that otherwise didn't exist for a woman in voiceover in a male-centric lane. And that was like recreational drugs for me. I was like, yes, I'm hooked.
Yes,
I'm
I
hooked.
also do automotive, but I'll tell you what, it's been a hard climb in automotive as well. I do not get the amount of automotive that I know my male counterparts do. So it's kind of like, I feel like when they want a novelty, or when they want a novelty, they want something just a little bit different. They're gonna hire the woman, but more than not, I'm hearing those campaigns. Either the campaign that I had was taken over by a male voice. So yeah, it is something that I feel like as a female, wanting to have the same opportunities, it's hard. It really is. And you do have to build doors. And so now after, I would say 10 months, what happened after that? Because you bought the domain. Do you have a website?
I do. And you know why? Because there was a woman. I have a lot of Zoom calls. Like I spend a lot of my time trying to get to brands, talk to all these different people. And a lot of the brands I've talked to, I haven't publicly shared because I'm not ready to yet. But there was a woman who was the former head legal for a major sports, an American sports company, if you will, or brand. And she said, listen, I can totally hook you up with the top people because your message deserves to be heard there. However, I can't do it unless you have a website. And I had been dragging my feet, and I was like,
well, there's an investment there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get that. I have multiple websites, so I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is probably coming out of your pocket.
It did. Yeah. It did. And that's when things started to get really serious because I invested in the website. I created it on my own in Wix over a weekend. Frank, his last name I think is Frank. He helped me.
Yeah, Jim Frank. Yep.
He helped me work through some things. He was wonderful. And so now we have a website. And I mentioned, oh my gosh, the VO Craftsman. Yes, Brandon Miller. He does all the videos for free for me. So he volunteered to do all of the reels for me for free, which is amazing, right?
That's fabulous.
Yeah, and so I've had some really great conversations with brands like Valvoline, the Cleveland Guardians, the Cleveland Cavs, and I will say that I didn't realize, and I want to say this to everyone listening that is in voice acting who's putting stuff out on social media. People see you. They may never like it.
Yeah,
they may never comment.
Yep.
They may never share it, but they see you.
Yeah.
They're watching you. Because the person from the Cavs reached out to me. A middle-aged white man reached out to me and said, I've been watching you. I've been watching the campaign, and I want to put you in a room full of decision makers across 4 different athletic associations.
Nice.
So who would have ever guessed that, right?
Yeah.
Who would have ever guessed that?
Absolutely. Now, do you have a separate social media channel for Building Doors?
So we just started it.
Okay.
It is at Building Doors VO on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Okay.
We are only
Fabulous.
doing Instagram and LinkedIn because after a data analysis, I discovered that those are the platforms with the highest engagement and reach. On LinkedIn, our number one post is sitting at 90K impressions.
Nice.
And our highest post on Instagram has something crazy like 12 viewing hours, and it's a 20-second clip.
Now, what is it that you are promoting on the social channels? Are you creating videos with females voicing traditionally male promo roles? What are you presenting as content?
I'm so excited for 2025 because not only are we going to be featuring women, 1 per month, they're the door builders that are going to be reading scripts previously voiced by men in male-centric genres, but we're also going to be doing a lot of other cool stuff. Like we are going to do a LinkedIn Live and an Instagram Live series. I'd like to do one on LinkedIn a month and one on Instagram a month, but we'll see. And they are going to, imagine this, it's a panel discussion that is all based under the mission of Building Doors, which is equality, equal opportunity, but it'll include people who support the campaign. So for example, let's say the panel consists of a copywriter, a voiceover actor, a graphic designer, and then maybe a casting director. Who knows, right? And they're all talking about an issue that not only can be of service to the voiceover community they can learn from, but also highlights our supporters and highlights people who have a service that voice actors could potentially hire from. Forming community right now in 2025 is essential, I think, especially in our country, so that people know where to go to communicate, to connect, and to know where to put their money so they can support like-minded people.
Fabulous. That's fantastic. And so right now you have your socials all set?
So we've been live on social for about a month or 2 months.
Okay.
And Instagram is slowly climbing. Our LinkedIn page needs some more followers, right? So at Building Doors VO. I am currently, well, it's the holidays, so I'm not posting as much. But starting in January, yes, there is going to be more women reading reels. Hopefully those LinkedIn and Instagram lives will be up and running in January. And also, I'm going to be featuring supporters. So people who support us, I feature them in image and help share their story. For example, I have featured an award-winning UK digital marketing agency, a Afro-Indigenous puppeteer and comedian. So I'll be featuring those people as well.
I'm looking at buildingdoorsvo.com right now, and you have an amazing roster of ladies there.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because
how do I get involved? Hey, this is fantastic. You've got quite a few. That's amazing. Like at least 32 that I'm counting right now.
Yeah, and there'll be 44 at the end of it.
Nice.
And I would like to point out that we are not a talent agency. We are not a brand manager. We are not a casting site. When I talk to a brand, I ask them specifically, one of the things I ask them is that, would you be willing to, the next time you need a female voice actor, would you be willing to consider a door builder? And they usually say yes. And then they can go to the website and they go and reach out to that person directly. I'm not in it, right? So then they can take that to their agent and they can, everybody wins, I think.
And then absolutely.
If a door builder gets booked, I ask if I can share it as a success story. And for example, Natasha just got booked from her reel. She did a reel where she was reading something for the Oscars. Someone saw it on LinkedIn, reached out and said, "Hey, will you do my podcast intro and outro?" And so, she got that job. She did it. And, Building Doors, I think getting work for people who are featured is a great cherry on top, but it's not necessarily what is meant for the campaign, right? Because we're not a casting site. We're not a talent agent, right?
Right.
We want to show that women can do this. They should have the access to the opportunities to do it. And if you choose one of these women, great. But if not, at least we've planted the seed that, a woman can voice a UFC spot.
Sure, absolutely.
A woman can do a wealth management spot or a tech spot.
Now, how are you working on funding? Are you thinking, what are your thoughts about getting additional funding? Because I know, simply because I have multiple domains and I have, this is not something, out of your own pocket, owning the domain. You got to pay for that. You've got to pay for the website. You've got to pay for the hosting of the website. Ultimately, you've got a domain. Maybe you're going to send email from it. So then you're going to need an email server. I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff. Having the social media channels, and you're also a working voice actor. So you're donating a lot of your time. And I know that you recently have some women that are now on board to help you in the Building Doors campaign. But what are you thinking about in terms of funding?
I need funding.
Yeah. Are you going to create, are you going to create like maybe a scholarship or become like a nonprofit? What's going to happen?
So,
a 501c3? I mean,
I think, and this is probably not going to be a popular opinion, but I think that people or groups that advocate for a mission or a cause, they can earn money too. It's okay.
Sure.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
And no, we're not going to be a nonprofit. I have no desire to run a nonprofit. I worked for nonprofits for years in my 9-to-5 career. And I know what the mentality is. I know the paperwork. It's just not something I desire to do. We are a for-profit. We are an LLC under CEH Productions, which is my LLC. And I am so blessed to have the ambassadors. These are women that did pay a certain amount to be in the campaign, and they get access to make decisions about the campaign. And while that money is great, it's not. I'm not earning any money, is what I'm saying. Like the funds that I have collected to date help cover the cost of the initial investment that I've made, and help cover the cost of the website in the future. But I'm definitely not earning any money. So I've been applying for grants for female small business owners.
Nice.
I am open to other ideas. And I'm going to be honest with you, Ann, it's something that I'm really struggling with right now and trying to figure out. Because if this mission is going to have the impact that I want it to have, and if I want to do the ideas that I think are necessary for this brand, I need money. And I can't, I can't continue at the pace that I am as just me, right? And I do have some help with some of the ambassadors, Amy, Selma, and Sandy. They've been so great to me. And the ambassadors in general have been really great about, picking up some of the stuff that I can't. But if I had it my way, I'd hire a social media manager today.
Sure.
I'd hire a personal assistant today. I'd hire someone to do the books today. And for example, I've been fortunate enough, I'm going to be going to the WESPN conference in May. In New York. I have been encouraged to go there to make face-to-face connections.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a cost as well. I mean,
I'd like to say that Such a Voice is paying for my ticket.
Oh, okay.
They're paying for the ticket for me to go, but I still need to find funding for airfare and ground transportation. So, that takes time, right? Yep. Finding sponsors to take you somewhere where you know you could make the biggest difference and the biggest impact, that takes time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you're certainly building doors. And, I completely get that. I mean, you're starting from the ground up. And so there's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of navigating, trying things out. Back in the day, I like to say that I pioneered the hybrid workout, which was online and live at the same time. Back in the early days when there was no streaming live on the internet, before Zoom was a thing. I had some technological experience, so I started doing that. So, and there's no answers, really. There's no clear path,
right?
And so, to me, that defines a boss. And I love interviewing people who really exemplify and showcase like bossness.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, congratulations. This is an amazing, what you've done is the start of something truly amazing. And if there's any way that VO Boss can help you out, we're here. We're here to help you spread the message far and wide. And bosses out there, if you need to, how can bosses get in touch with you, Christy, if they want to know more, if they want to contribute?
Yes. So definitely follow us at Building Doors VO on Instagram and LinkedIn. I also want to give a quick plug that I'm doing an impact study, and those links are on those channels as well. If you could fill out the impact study, that would be great. And also, you're more than welcome to email me. You're more than welcome to message me on any of the social media platforms. If you are interested in offering services in exchange for something, or if you'd like to donate, by all means, let me know. Christy at ChristyHarst.com.
Absolutely. And we'll be putting all of your links on our show notes page, bosses out there. Christy, I want to meet back up with you in 6 months, in a year.
And that would be amazing.
And let's talk about what has, how has it progressed? Of course, I mean, I'm going to be following you from now on. And bosses out there, make sure that you follow Christy, and we will be in touch. And I'd like to, have a follow-up, interview with you for sure.
Oh, I'd love
in the future, because I see great things. I see great things happening. I got good vibes. So, you know, I always like to say that I'm a little bit intuitive here. So, you know, good stuff, Christy. I'm so glad that we got the opportunity to talk and to help and that VO Boss can help spread the word about the Building Doors campaign. You're amazing. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Bosses, big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. You too can connect and network like bosses, like Christy and myself. Find out more at IPDTL.com. Bosses, have an amazing week. Make sure you go and check out buildingdoors.com and check out Christy's and follow her on socials. And we will see you next week.